I'm Mia O'Brien. The Jaguars get an impressive overtime victory over the Arizona Cardinals. It was impressive because it was chaotic. Is Trevor Lawrence to blame, or is he the reason the Jaguars?
The answer to that question is yes. It is both. And the fans will let you know every time. I got to be able to critique Trevor without going through a whole roster of critique these days.
Great game. They played hard. They finished. They got the W, but there's a lot to talk about on this offseason.
Duval, it's the Jaguars Squad. Everything Jacksonville Jaguars every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Sunshine State. The way only can. You're up. The Jaguars Squad.
You are locked on to the Jaguars Squad Show on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And a little bit of an echo, Mia O'Brien, Tony Wiggins more on a Monday night for a little 24-hour later post-game reaction to the Jaguars' victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. T-Wig, you already hit us with your live post-game reaction last night, Sunday evening, here on the Locked On. How your impressions, your reaction has changed in 24 hours time. And Marcus, I know you've been itching to get off your takes from a game that you already told us before we came on the air. You've never seen two sides blitz quite as much as we saw the Jaguars and the Cardinals defenses do at State Farm Stadium Sunday afternoon. But we did give a reason the Jaguars won this game and also the reason that this game went to overtime. T-Wig, let's start with you. Do the Jaguars have their quarterback of the future? I hate that I'm asking it because I know someone's going to clip it and they're going to lose their mind and someone else is going to say she's not going in hard enough on him. That's why this is an interactive show, by the way. Leave your comments and questions on the YouTube chat comment section. But what say you to the state of number 16 this week?
They have their quarterback of the near future, and I'll tell you why. It's because when you look at Trevor Lawrence, he's 25 years old. Let's just say for the sake of this argument, we rank him somewhere between 12 and 15. And I'm not trying to argue with people. You still got to replace him with somebody better than somebody between 12 and 15. And you can't do it unless you're going to pick high. They won 7 games this year with basically no Brian Thomas Jr., and very little Brian Thomas Jr., and very little Travis Hunter. They're not going to get worse. They're only going to get better from a team building standpoint. So what do you do? Do you hit lightning in a bottle? Do you make a trade? He's going to be the quarterback, and he should be for a while because as he's shown, you can win with Trevor Lawrence. And I know some people want to stop that podcast right there with me saying that. But what I am also telling you is this. You'd be a fool if you did not see and understand that sometimes he gives them a whole heck of a bunch of stuff that they have to go around. And, it's almost like if somebody does something wrong to you and you do good in life regardless, and then they say, well, good, I motivated you. No, it don't work like that. You don't get to tell me that you motivated me. You did me wrong, and Trevor does wrong, and we got to be able to say that. And when he does something right, we got to be able to say that too. And then we have to say that there's a variance between right and wrong that teams that win Super Bowls don't have from that position. The last thing you want, and Marcus, you can attest to this. You played football. You played more football in your fingernail than I did my entire life. The last thing your coach wants you to talk about if he comes up to you, and now this is within the scope that we're evaluating Trevor. This isn't what fans should say. This isn't what media would say. But if your coach came up to you and said, you did a bad thing here, and I'm going to show you on tape. Yeah, but you know what? The dude left next to me did something 2 plays before that, and then you know what? What about your quarterback? What about that one fumble? That is the last thing you want to do when somebody's evaluating you or you're evaluating somebody else, and that's why it infuriates me. Somebody just did it before we started. I mentioned that I've been saying that he needs to be more consistent. And Dan Orlovsky said the same thing. And I said, welcome to the club, basically. And the dude said, yeah, Wig, he's been inconsistent, but He need more support from the coaching staff, need more support from the wide receivers, and I'm like, I ain't doing that. This is a standalone statement. He's the quarterback. He's going to get all the credit if they win. He needs to get all the credit or most of the credit if they don't.
Go ahead, Marcus.
So a couple things. I watched the entire game, like I've always done since we started this awesome show, and I saw a quarterback that had some flashes of a Pro Bowl type quarterback. In the 30 going in, that pass he rolled out left and he hit the guy about the 8 or 9 yard line. That bullet right to the side of the sideline where nobody could catch that but his receiver on the run, running to his left. That showed me if Trevor Lawrence just does what he's supposed to consistently, he is a phenomenal specimen. You know, he's 6'6", 230 pounds. He's got a bullet for an arm. He's got a cannon. What Trevor needs to do, and I'm just going to be very honest, he has to get better pocket presence if he's going to hold the ball for a long period of time. That sack fumble where the guy, defensive lineman, took it and scored the touchdown, he held the ball too long. And also, which was surprising to me, the Cardinals got super aggressive with their blitz packages. Buda Baker off the corner, safety coming down, corner coming late, outside linebacker faking the zone, coming in late off a delayed blitz, which was surprising because they weren't relying on their front four. They were coming after him with a lot more than that. So this is where a quarterback has to really understand the whole layout of the field, right? And this is where I feel if Trevor just gets a little bit better at reading things a little bit quicker, he's still 25 years old, he's still very young. But like you said, right, T-Wig, right, Mia? This is the time. You are the quarterback. You're going to have to learn because you have to sometimes help out your offensive line. Because again, 3 seconds, anything after 3 seconds the quarterbacks are taught, you're on your own. I mean, really, you're on your own. Because unless you want to hold the guy, when you hold the guy, what good is that? Because then what, the play's dead, you go back 10 yards, it puts you at more disadvantage. So Trevor showed signs he could be a phenomenal, amazing quarterback in the NFL. But he has to do a better job with reading defense as far as people coming after him, the blitzes. I saw this stuff, I was like, man, they weren't stopping. They were coming from left, from the right, and then they were coming from every angle. And if you know this, you have to be prepared for it and make adjustments.
And hey, he did finally beat the blitz, not once, but twice, 4 touchdowns for the first time this season, which was encouraging to see. Marcus, I want to hit on one more point that you made before we look to some other initial impressions from this 27-24 overtime victory. Can pocket presence be taught? Or can it develop over time? Or is it one of those things that you either got it or you don't? Because that is something that I've had people from around the National Football League asking me as it pertains to number 16.
Learn pocket presence, but it takes you having to really work within a lot of the different schemes and get used to the pressure coming from different sides. And it's a lot of, let's take number 12 from the old days, Mr. Brady. Was the best at pocket presence. Did he learn that? You're damn right he did. He learned it over time. He learned how to be a better quarterback. And again, it comes with maturity. Can he learn it? Absolutely. But again, unfortunately, a lot of times you don't learn it till you actually get your butt knocked off because you hold the ball too long. So hopefully he can learn other ways. But yes, you can definitely learn pocket presence, awareness. My brother always told quarterbacks, hey, man, if after 3 seconds, if you drip to the left and I'm blocking, I'm going to have a problem. Because he said, and what happened, because he was so good, they did it anyway. But if you drip to my left, right to your left, after 3 seconds, we're going to have a problem. Because again, that's what after 3 seconds, it's not, we're not taught to be able to block after that point. The pocket should never, ever drift to a side unless you're trying to roll out or you're just like, hey, man, I'm about to get hit. You got to scramble. So, Mia, yes, you can definitely learn pocket presence. It just takes a lot of development, and it takes you going through the fire, unfortunately, to learn that.
T-Wig, as you noted, anytime you bring up the name Trevor Lawrence, the comments, they go crazy. The listens, the interaction, it goes nuts. So, in an effort to span a wide range of initial impressions from this victory from Sunday, let's pivot. For you, besides the play of the quarterback, the roller coaster that is Trevor Lawrence, what was your biggest takeaway from the Jaguars' overtime win in the desert?
My biggest take was for me in the second half. I thought after the first drive, I thought both lines of scrimmage was getting whipped, and I thought they had to make an adjustment with the blitz when they were on offense. They actually came out in the second half and took over the line of scrimmage for 1 and almost 2 quarters until that last drive. They were doing what they wanted to do, running the ball, time with Trevor getting time. On the other side of the ball, Josh Hines-Allen and that crew started getting home. Those little running alleys that Arizona had early in the game that kind of surprised me a little bit, they went away. Jacoby started looking more and more uncomfortable. So I thought somebody answered the bell. It's the old three words I keep using: just play better. Ain't nobody walking. Baselli and Cersei ain't walking through that door. Gary Walker and John Henderson ain't walking through that. You got to go play better. And it looked like they came out in the second half and said, you know what, we're going to play better. The safety started firing. Everything got a little more difficult until the last 2 drives that Arizona had. So I do like the fact that they stick together. I do like the fact that even through Trevor's mistakes, you don't see heads hanging. This is what Trevor's talking about with that wide receiver body language. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see that. You still see the fight. And as you heard Brenton Strange say late in the game, I'm going to paraphrase him here. Late in the game, that's my dude. We think we're going to get it done because he continues to do that. However, here is the non-silver lining. You know where they're trying to go into the playoffs. You ain't going to be able to get away with that stuff. And that's the thing. People want that to go away. The thing about showing people what Marcus just said, that all pro level type throw, the good thing about it is we know you can do it. The bad thing about it is we know you can do it. So now we expect it, especially when, and I know people hate when I say this, especially when you look at the contract, because the contract represents a commitment, and it also represents, all right, now we're expecting certain things out of you at some point. And being able to be good more than bad is one of them.
We are going to touch upon those halftime adjustments because it's something, Marcus, that I think a lot of people talk about, but you don't always see in practice, because the reality is with a 20-minute halftime period, are you actually sitting down like maybe you can in the college ranks and actually changing things during that intermission? I've heard both sides that yes, you can, and I've heard you can't. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more. But first, before we get to our next segment and our first time out, Marcus, other initial impressions from you. I know you wanted to hit on, and we are going to dive into it even more so on the defensive front, the exotic looks we saw from Anthony Campanelli, but also those blitz packages that Jonathan Gannon and company also employed against Trevor Lawrence.
Well, what I will say is I was very impressed with the way the Jaguars actually in the second half, they just were able to stick to the run. Travis Etienne, that into that fourth quarter, they just kept getting after it. They didn't stop running the football. And again, we talk about this all the time. Running the football is not designed to be a first half thing. If you get in the first half, that's great. But in reality, it's designed, because I looked at Calais Campbell, like at the overtime when he came out there to do the coin flip. I could see Calais Campbell. He was tired. He was done. Like, he's still a great football player, but I could tell his body language, the way he was standing, he couldn't stand up straight. He was kind of bent over. He was slouched over. That's because you're chasing the running back over and over again. You're moving that down, that lateral side to side horizontal movement. So I was very impressed. They kept doing that, and they didn't waver from that. And that's what I felt was able to win the game in overtime. I really felt both lines for Arizona, defensive, got tired, offensive. They just, in reality, just really weren't that great to begin with. I think they was kind of out of sync. So I was very impressed. They kept running the football and not wavering.
Which is interesting because T-Wig, I actually came away from this game and I felt like they could have run the football more. And while I don't think they were ever going to be running this, 47 times like they did last week against the Los Angeles Chargers, that's just unrealistic. You're not going to be able to run the ball quite that often if you don't have the lead they did against LA. But to that point, Travis Etienne, 15 carries, Bashal Tutin, 7 carries, LaQuint Allen, 1 carry. In terms of designed running plays, that's a grand total of 23, and then 5 carries for Trevor Lawrence, which, hey, when he uses his legs, the Jaguars tend to win football games. What do you make of that run game?
What I make of it is, if we look back at time of possession, we'll actually see why it appears that they didn't. If you look at how much they possessed the ball, 23 runs is a lot when you consider the fact that they didn't have the ball a whole bunch.
True.
But the other part of that is, you're right about something you said, Mia. There came a point when everyone, even I tweeted out, man, just run it when you get inside the 5-yard line. There came a point that even though Trevor was throwing interceptions, they were still throwing on first down. And that's another conversation that people have been having. Like, man, we just got to kind of dial this thing down and realize. I think my boy Cap from Bowl City Brigade said he has to realize who his quarterback is, and he has to realize it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, during the game, I agree with that because I said something similar. But when he didn't do it, guess what I said? Good for him. Don't dial nothing back. Make him do it. If he can't do it, we'll figure it out. But you know what? This is about the program. This is the first year of everything. I understand winning some games when you want to. Yeah, I'll worry about that in the last 8-9 minutes. But right now, I know who we want to be. And he has the capability to do it. He just has. It's one thing if he had a noodle arm, but he doesn't. Just like Marcus said, he just made a throw that not very many people can make. So you know what? Make him do it over and over and over again. And then it'll become clear to everybody, including him, when you do take the ball away from him a little bit. But by that point, maybe your offensive line is a little bit better. Maybe your safeties are better. Maybe your team is better, and you can adopt that type of football. But right now, with them, I'm not saying that there's house money, but I will tell you this. I know a lot of people, and I'm not saying they're in any official capacity, that would have been happy with 9-8. They're close. So you know what? When you think 9-8 is attainable, go for 11-6. Go for 12-5. That's what you do. Put your foot on the gas and go exactly how far you can go. And when the wheels fall off, that's when you'll know where you are in the offseason.
And with 2 of those final 6 coming against the lowly 1-win Tennessee Titans, that bodes well for the Jaguars, if only on paper. Speaking of paper, those halftime adjustments, what did the Jaguars do after the offensive line was getting bullied early against the Arizona Cardinals? And what might we see them do in preparation for going up against the Tennessee Titans pass rush that maybe isn't quite at the same caliber, but could still pose a threat in a divisional showdown on Sunday? We attack the adjustments coming up next here on the Locked On Jaguars Squad Show.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Welcome back into today's Jaguars Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Mia O'Brien, Tony T-Wig, Wiggins, and Marcus Ogden. Boys, you mentioned it earlier in the program, the halftime adjustments. Marcus, I want to start with you, not just because offensive line is your specialty, and that offensive line adjustment in particular really was tangible and visible, in my opinion, in the second half against the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. But this idea of, can you make adjustments at halftime? What extent can you actually change things either in real time while on the sidelines as a coaching staff, and then as players actually going into the locker room and maybe what many envision, like sitting down around a whiteboard and hashing it out? Does that actually happen in the National Football League?
I believe it happens in the National Football League because 20 minutes to a lot of people doesn't seem like a long time, but to adjust your play calling, to make adjustments on the field, what you've been seeing with the eye in the sky that doesn't lie, that's more than enough time to make adjustments. And again, you're exactly correct. When we were in our locker room, we sit down, you have your whiteboard up. They put, okay, we were running this. We're not going to go do this. We thought they were going to be in this front. Now we're going to go to see they're in that front. We're going to run these plays. So you can absolutely make halftime adjustments because at the end of the day, you have more than enough time because by the time you get down there, they already have laid out from their team, the people on the staff, the exact the plan, it's laid out, the structure, everything is ready and is presented right to you by the coaching staff, either the OC or the O-line, whoever's going to lead. Usually it's the OC saying, hey, guys, we're running this, we're going to do this. On the defensive side, the coordinator does that. But, yeah, you definitely have time to make adjustments at halftime because if you don't and things aren't working, at that point, you're just basically just doing what's called insanity, doing the exact same thing, expecting different results.
All right, let's talk offensive line specifically then, T-Wig. What did you see from this Jaguars offensive line in the second half compared to the first half?
So for the naked eye, for me, I probably can't see it the way Marcus does because Marcus sees it from experience. So for me,
you want to punt to Marcus on this one?
Well, I'll let me pass it to him real quick. It appeared to me that everybody just had a little bit of an attitude adjustment. Like, look, ain't nobody else here, man. If y'all don't get us home, we ain't gonna be able to make it. So what are you gonna do? To me, now it's probably a little bit more than that, but that's what it just looked like. It looked like there was more of a sense of desperation. It looked like they came out early, punched them in the mouth on the first drive, got whatever they wanted. And then all of a sudden, when somebody fought back, they had to be reminded that they were in a fight, that this wasn't going to go as easy as they thought. And so from a technical standpoint, if it was wide receivers, I could say, yeah, they took them and put them in a bunch formation. So they made the quarterback see things real easy. I don't know, looking at a line, what adjustment they made. I just know that they looked like they came out. And as my friend Bomani Jones said about something else today, can't go back. There was a clip of a dude getting knocked down as a gunner, and he got up and made a tackle that caused a fumble for Dallas last night. And he said, can't go back means he's from Camden, New Jersey. That's the kind of play that was. Can't go back to Camden, New Jersey. So it just looks like to me a whole bunch of guys just dropped their you-know-what and just played better.
So and I love how Tony's T-Wig said, to his eye, who hasn't seen it, doesn't really get the concepts, what happened was, from what I saw, first half, it was a ton of base protection, basically, which means it's big on big. You have your center who's open, kind of looking both ways and kind of being a little bit more big on big. But what I saw, because the Cardinals were blitzing so much off the edges, safety reads coming down late, and I saw a lot of stunts in games by Arizona as well. The second half, they went more to a slide protection. What happens then is instead of going big on big, you're blocking an area. And what happened is instead of having a guy worry about a guy, you have an area. That's how you stop late delay blitzes. You go from a base protection to slide. Because what happens then is your linemen aren't worried about a guy, they're worried about an area. As you saw in the second half, they were much more confident. So when Arizona would blitz late, like B gap or a double outside in the C, there was always somebody to pick up. And then the running backs were communicating better. Because I saw Cleveland, you all seem kind of like, you get down the stance, you get back up and you kind of point to the center and kind of go like behind to go right. He was basically taking over, being like the captain, telling the center where to go, running back knew where to go off of that. So they were working together versus the first half. It was more big on big, and a big on big is great. But the problem big on big, if there's a lot of blitzing, a lot of delayed blitzes, it does not pick up. That's why Arizona struggled. When the Jaguars did it to them, the Cardinals did not do slide. They went big on big, and they were struggling against the edges. They were getting bowled a lot because they were trying to block two guys in one area. Like, that's exactly what comes down to pass protection. You have to go from big to slide.
So, Marcus, to that point, is this something that the Jaguars could have addressed during the week? Is this like a coaching thing? I mean, obviously you give them all the credit in the world because whatever when they changed to the slide, it worked. And so you give them credit for finding a way to eventually get to the right answer. But is this something that maybe during the week of preparation they could have identified?
Blitzing a lot during the regular season. This season, you don't put that into your game plan. because the Jaguars don't like. Because here's the thing: when you go slide protection, you're putting a ton of pressure on your running back to block the end of the line, either a big defensive lineman, linebacker, or potentially late blitzing safety. So it's a great thing for the line, but it's really hard on your running back. So when I played for the Jaguars, we would run a ton of 2-jet, which is slide left, right? So 2 is even. That meant Fred Taylor or whomever would go to the right and block the edge. We were going left. 3-jet means Fred's going left, we're going right. So what happens is when you have a big running back like a Fred Taylor who could actually block his butt off, you could do that. But Travis is not the biggest guy. They don't have a big bruising running. That's why you guys see they keep Strange in for like chip stuff like that. He's a bigger body. So again, if the Cardinals, from what I saw, because again, the Cardinals, I mean, you're getting like Sweat's having a good season, Campbell's having, like, you don't have to usually blitz a lot, but for some reason, I think the Cardinals were just desperate to win this game, and they played different. They played all year and were super aggressive, trying to get into Trevor Lawrence's head to hit him hard, and they felt if they did that, and again, he threw 3 interceptions. So the plan worked. The defense, though, just could not keep them out of the end zone or the big plays when it mattered. And you said it best, right, Mia? When you blitz, it's open to one-on-one coverage. When you bring the house, if you don't get there, somebody's one-on-one. At least one, maybe 2. So if you bring the house, you better get there. If you don't get there, your corner is on an island by himself.
This is why we have the former NFL offensive lineman from one of the greatest offensive line families out there, T-Wig, on Locked On Jaguars, because what a breakdown of those halftime adjustments by Liam Cohen, Sean Sarrett, and the offensive staff. I want to throw this at you, T-Wig, because we're 26 minutes into the program, which we appreciate all of you hanging out with us live right now on the Locked On Jaguars YouTube channel. The tight end play. Brenton Strange returns. Maybe not 100%, but looked pretty darn good in his return, even if he still wanted more. What do you make now with Strange back in the fold and Hunter Long hopefully returning here in the next week or so from his own knee injury, and hip and knee, since Strange was a hip/quad? What do you make of that tight end rotation and some of the weapons the Jaguars have, both in pass blocking, but also in the receiving game?
You know what else I like? I like Quentin Morris. Quentin Morris should have had a touchdown yesterday. Okay. So I like that rotation, but let me be clear. The star of the group is Brenton Strange. I almost said Curtis Strange, and my PGA people going to go crazy, but it's Brenton Strange. He is just so much better than I always thought he was. And that every now and then I give a hat tip to Trent Baalke, who I was a big critic of. But it was never about his ability to draft talent. It was about his ability to team build. Brenton Strange can play. Brenton Strange and Parker Washington, them some dudes that you want to see Jacksonville Jaguars for a very, very long time. He is what, when I played basketball, my coach used to always say we had 2 bigs back then. This is Mia. I'm sorry for dating myself, Mia. This is when you actually had a center and a power forward. You know what I'm saying? And they were already shaped like their granddaddy. So they would be in there together. One guy high post, one guy low. Coach said, you get the ball in the high post, you turn and look right down in the box for your buddy. The 4 and the 5 were buddies. Tight ends and quarterbacks are buddies. That is your release valve. That is your dude you're going to turn. Because 1, he can help block. But 2, he 9 times out of 10, if you got a skill set like Strange, you're going to end up in mismatches. Go big nickel, that's all right. I'll beat you in pass on the route tree. Go small with a little slot. I'm going to run this thing all day, and we're going to run right at you. That's why I like complete tight ends as opposed to a move tight end, because a complete tight end doesn't give you the tell of what the play call is going to be.
With all due respect to Evan Ingram, who was great during his tenure here with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but yes, T-Wig, to that exact point, that is the reason you let Evan Ingram go, because you wanted a tight end who could, quite frankly, confuse opponents because you have no idea what his role is on that play. Marcus, I know you want to sound off on Quentin Morris as well. Certainly someone who at the beginning of the season started the year on the practice squad. Many didn't expect him to be such a force in run blocking, but he has been so far. After looking at what the Jaguars were able to do against the Cardinals this week, what's the next step for this offensive line tight end unit as an entire offense?
Needs to do is they got to continue to work well together and make adjustments faster than they did against the Cardinals. But again, like I said, it's hard. We don't have a type of eye in the sky to give you any film to break down. What they need to do is if they start seeing things like, because the Cardinals were blitzing early enough to pick that up and make the adjustment. But again, like I said, on the sideline, it's hard because, the guys don't have as much time. It could be an interception. You're off the bench, flying back onto the field. So it's a lot harder during the game. But again, talk about Strange, right? Big, physical. He reminds me of a complete Kyle Brady. Kyle was my teammate, tight end out of Penn State, and Kyle was a monster in the running game. 6'6", 2'8". He could block almost anybody. But Kyle was not as athletically gifted down the field running routes as Strange is. So, and Strange can block, he can pull, he can do misdirection, he can catch the ball, turn upfield quickly, and get that yak going. So again, it was so nice to see, right, T-Wig, that outlet. If things aren't working downfield, like that nice 12-yard and under drag route, that in, that out, that curl, to have him be in that position right in the sweet spot of the zone, that's exactly what they've been missing for the last few weeks.
Vincent says, I'm going to need a breakdown of that Parker Washington punt return that he fielded for a not safety. Appears like Parker has been studying the rule book. Hang tight, Vincent. We will get to that explanation for you. I'm excited to hear what the boys thought of that not safety. And we also will dive into the Jaguars defensive fronts. Dennis Gardick starting in place of Trayvon Walker at a wide 9. Josh Allen played the most snaps of his career along the left side. What did it mean for this Jaguars defense moving forward? We discuss next here on the Jaguars Squad Show. Hello, friends. I want to tell you a little bit about our friends over at Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier. But now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified partner for global HR, payroll, unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. By uniting your employees, teams, and departments into one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. It's seriously simple to use and gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything they touch. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnfl. Learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnfl. That's rippling.com/lockedonnfl for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back into the Jaguars Squad Show. We turn our attention now to the defensive unit for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And T-Wig, we will begin with you. Your impressions of Anthony Campanelli's defense that also made some halftime adjustments of their own, but also had to adjust from the onset of this one without the presence of former number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker.
I thought they adjusted well. I thought they kind of figured out what was going on. And like I said, everything I'm saying is prior to those last 2 drives. Those last 2 drives absolutely drove me crazy. But that's what happens when you're kind of like scrambling, trying to figure out. One, Liam didn't go for the field goal, but he's done that. He did that in Cincinnati also. So we know how he feels about that. But it really puts you in an odd and weird situation where you get caught in some stuff sometimes. Braswell goes with a double move. Situational awareness, man. You got to know the double. Let her make that little move in front of you. Just don't let him get behind you. I don't care if you catch the ball in front of me. Y'all about to run out of time, fool. And you ain't got no timeouts. You can do a double move all you want to. You're just going to be doing it for practice because I'm not going for it. And you got to have that kind of awareness. But when you haven't played a lot, that's what happens to you. I thought they did well. I thought guys came up and they started tackling better. Because when those 2 safeties got split on that slant, I almost lost my natural mind. It's just stuff like that that just cannot happen. And I thought about it. Arizona had scored on offense. Up to that point, the Jaguars had they really weren't giving up anything. They gave up a big play and then they gave up a pick fumble or a pick 6 or whatever. Take those 2 plays away, they made Arizona earn everything. everything. And of course, there was a bogus penalty here or there too. But I thought Jarian Jones came up and tackled well. I thought Dewey in the second half tackled well. I thought they were doing a pretty poor job in the open field when early in the game, when the Cardinals were short of the sticks, they catch the ball to make one move, and guys were just trying too hard and too anxious. That's where I think they settled down a little bit and started hitting and seeing what was in front of them and really start playing with their eyes instead of playing with their mind. And I think it enabled them and helped them. But it really was because those guys up front did their job, and then the guys on offense were doing their job too, and they were playing complementary football.
Marcus, Jacoby Brissett was pressured on 44.8% of his dropbacks. You alluded to the blitz packages that Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals defensive staff employed against Trevor Lawrence and company. But how about some of the defensive packages we saw, especially coming off the blitz from Campanelli's side and the blitzes that they were able to deploy?
Oh, it was pretty much the exact same type of blitzes: delayed safety blitz, corner blitzes, ET stunts. They were bull rushing and going from bull to snatch. They were going from bull to pull. Now, again, I saw Hines Allen play left end over Kelvin Beachum, who was a 6'2" and a half NFL tackle, 6'2" and a half. That's what they list him at. So again, the leverage, the long arms, it was a lot. You saw a ton of push. You saw a ton of 45-degree pass rush, pressing 90. Brissett really had almost nowhere to go, almost on every play. And again, the delayed blitzes up there, we talked about them before last week. The line was makeshift. That's when you do the delayed blitzes with the linebackers. The ET stunts were killing them. The TE stunts were killing them. And again, they almost kind of married each other with the blitz packages off the edge from the secondary. And again, the Jaguars tackled well. Again, if you're playing a guy and you know you can't get beat deep, the one thing you have to watch if you're playing corner is their low back or like their hip area. Wherever that low back sits, you sit. If you see it start to kind of move, you move. The low back is going to tell you everything. As a lineman, we're taught to watch the inside number. When we're pass protecting, I don't care about your outside number. I don't care about your head. I don't care about your arms. I don't care about how much you want to shake your little shimmy shake Reggie White move. I don't care about none of that. If the inside number is moving, I track it. Wherever that goes, my nose stays right in line with your number. If my nose is on your inside number, I can't get beat outside. I can push you around the pocket, and I can keep myself in a good standing. As a corner or a safety, watch the low back or the hip area. If that moves, you move. If that sits, you sit. And be very careful. Again, don't watch their head. Don't watch their shoulders. All that can move. But when that hip moves, your body has to move with it.
All right, boys, let's give out a little MVP game ball, if we may, on the defensive side of the ball. 1.5 sacks and 5 quarterback hits for Devin Lloyd. A 1.5 sacks for Dennis Gardick in his return to Arizona. Josh Hines Allen, as we alluded to, 33 rushing snaps of his 46 pass rushes came on the left side. That's the second most of his career on that side of the line of scrimmage. He pressured Brissett 19.6% of his 46 pass rushes, 9 pressures, 1 sack. Or was there another player, perhaps, T-Wig, who I have yet to give kudos to, who you believe was the reason on the defensive side of the ball, was the straw that stirs the drink for this victory?
It's always Foye to me, but I'm not going to go there because you know what?
1000th career tackle.
Yeah, I beat up on Josh a lot because I want Josh to look the way he looked the other day. And I got a text from somebody. Yeah, but didn't you say last week that the Cardinals was down to their third string? Yeah, I did, but I don't care. They're in the NFL. And, you know, look, he played yesterday the way he was supposed to play yesterday. So, look, we got to give him some grace and really, really big up him because it wasn't just the sacks yesterday. It was the pressure. And the pressure caused – there was a lot of times that pressure reduced the field to halfway because Jacoby was running for his life. And sometimes he even ran him into other people. So, it's very, very important that we give him his due yesterday.
Let me be clear, too, T-Wig. Kelvin Beachum and Lennon, the 2 tackles, are their starters. Let's be clear about that.
Oh, that's a good point.
The 2 tackles are the Cardinal Cardinals starting offensive tackles have been the entire, and Kelvin Beach has been a starting tackle in the league for about 12 years.
Yeah,
so
came through here. Yeah, came through Jacksonville.
And Lennon was a first-round draft pick out of Ohio State.
Paris Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah.
Yep.
He's a first-round pick out of Ohio State. So those are the two premier. Now the inside, all those guys are makeshift. But again, on the outside, those were their two top players. So I don't care what you say, you're supposed to beat guys in front of you, but those were their two top guys with the Cardinals. And for me, I thought Lloyd did a phenomenal job bringing the pressure. That personal foul on him was probably one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life. As a former offensive lineman, okay? This is football, all right? You are going to get hit. You're a quarterback. You know in training camp, you know in all that stuff, you got your little red jersey on, you're not going to get hit. You know that. But in the game, they are coming after you. They have got to stop with these bogus personal fouls or this, and then or Brissett gets hit. He's like, oh, where's the call? I need the call. Come on, man. Come on, put your arms down, dude. Like, be a football player. Don't beg for the call. This is not Dance with the Stars. Don't beg for the crowd to give you a 10 out of 10. Stop begging. You know what I'm saying? Play football. So I thought he was great. But again, Lloyd, to me, he brought the heat. He tackled. He was in the face of the quarterback, taking on linemen. Like, he did a phenomenal. Again, as a former lineman, I love guys like that. You want to come hit me? Let's go. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you hard. Keep on coming. So I was like, man, stop. And I asked him, I was like, man, stop with these personal fouls, man. Quarterbacks, they make a check just like everybody else.
Since we spent part of our last two shows discussing ways that Anthony Campanelli could get creative with these defensive fronts, obviously the return of Devin Lloyd from injury is a big part of that. Not having Trayvon Walker this week, equally as important. I will give you guys a couple more pressure numbers according to PFF. Danny Strigow, the undrafted free agent rookie who actually left this game, number 92 at one point, left this game with an injury, then came back. An 11.1% pressure rate on just 24 snaps against the Arizona Cardinals. DeJuan Smoot, 6.4% pressure rate. Emmanuel Ogbah, 4% pressure rate. As we discussed last week, BJ Green and Strigow certainly appear to be the future for the Jaguars. Smoot rotated a bit more outside in this game comparatively to games past just because of the absence of Trayvon Walker and the need. That's part of why Ogbah was active. But tell me this, T-Wig. Yeah. If you do get Trayvon back next week, what is your defensive front looking like against the Tennessee Titans? Or even if you don't have Trayvon back, how are you going to deploy and utilize your personnel? By the way, because we didn't give him credit, Eric Armstead, yes, another sack, has looked pretty good. And he noted on his podcast, ever since, him and Devon Hamilton heard about everyone clamoring for the Jaguars to trade for an interior defensive lineman, all of a sudden they're having some of the best games of their careers.
They absolutely are. Whenever you get a starter of the caliber of Trayvon Walker, you put him back in the starting lineup and expect him to be Trayvon Walker. Now that you have the luxury of understanding that you do have other guys that can help, this is where the rotation can benefit you, to where you can keep everybody fresh and play and do this thing and manage the game so that guys aren't out of energy. Now, you don't want the hockey substitutions, but you do want guys going in and out and in certain sub packages. Like, I think Marcus brought this up last week. He's talking about the speed when you go small. Now you could probably see everybody's going to get their wish now. I think now you might see Trayvon line up inside a little bit in their sub package with Gardick and those guys outside, because the speed, obviously, Beecham has been around, but he ain't that fast, right? So you get as many speed guys as you can, especially if the quarterback has a long down and distance. And then you tell them to go get after the quarterback with four people and you play coverage. So it gives them a lot of versatility. But main thing, long term, you know what it gives them? It's for the fans that keep saying you need to go get an edge rusher. Trade for Brian Burns. Trade for Trey Hendrickson. Like, you ain't got a dude making $100 million and then another dude that deserves the $100 million. Well, how you going to pay three linemen that kind of money? I mean, you can't. So what you do is you also don't have a first-round draft pick and you have other needs. Those two young guys have shown, at least for the last couple of weeks, you think about them going through these last 6-7 games and then through the offseason, they've shown you, now we don't need to go get nothing. We got them right here. We got them right there. We got these young dudes under these rookie deals, and they are chomping at the bit to play. And that's how you start to build your player development up to the point where you're not out here cherry picking in the NFL portal, chasing people, having to overpay them. Instead of paying Ogba that money, now you reinvest some of that money in your own people, and you keep building those young guys up. And then you know what? Go get another one in the fourth round this year. That's how you do it. All you had to do was look at the Rams last night. A lot of people didn't know who half those people were except Jared Verse. And guess what? They're getting after people.
Let's also finish on the secondary, Marcus, because certainly that was something we talked about on our preview show, the idea of Antonio Johnson, the role he could have in both covering Trey McBride as well as coming in as a blitzer. Jarian Jones, also more than capable in attacking the quarterback. Ditto to Dewey Wingard. What did you see from that secondary? Although something tells me you also want to chime in on Danny Strigow a bit.
So, first of all, Danny Strigow reminds me of a guy that I played with on the Jaguars. They had the exact same number, Rob Meyer.
Yeah.
Rob Meyer, he's exactly the type of Rob Meyer player. And Rob was really good at his leverage, and he was sneaky with his moves. So that's a great pickup at undrafted. You don't expect guys undrafted to contribute at all. Anything to contribute at all, step on the field, you win big time. And I'll be honest, to play defensive line, the easiest thing to do on a football field, I must be straight up, is to rush the passer. It is the easiest skill to learn. Speed, hands, timing. Pass protection as a lineman's difficult. Corner is a nightmare. Linebacker's hard. Like, you're a guy that's running full speed ahead, trying to run around the guy or run through the guy on the other side of the ball. That is a skill that can be taught, and it's a skill, as T. Wiggs said, if you just keep guys in your system, you don't have to go out and pay a lot of money for a big-name guy. You don't have to do that. You can learn how to just build up your farm. So I like the way the Jaguars are rotating guys. And again, as a former lineman, what I used to hate, I would hate this, T. Wig. I'm out there for a series, like play 9 or 10, and the next thing I see is some small 210-pound defensive end out there rushing the passer. Now here I am, 9, 10 plays deep on this drive. Tires, I don't know what. Now I got to block this guy coming fresh off the bench. That's a nightmare for tackle. So you just have to learn to use what you have. The secondary, I felt, did a much better job. Again, some things they need to work on, of course, but tackling, being aggressive, that's awesome. They truly did a great job in the game when it mattered of making the play. And at the end of the day, as T. Week said, this is where you gotta, no excuses. Because right now you're trying to chase down that number 1 seed. You can't afford mistakes. You can't afford missed tackles. You can't afford blown coverages. If you do that, then what happens? You could potentially score. So the Titans, boy, they better say, no, these guys are undefeated. We got to come and beat, because like you cannot lose a division game to the worst team in your division. You just can't do it.
They need the mic. If they get another young defensive lineman, I want them to mic an old guy like Beachum. I guarantee you, Beachum ain't gonna curse because I know him very well. But I can tell you what he would say. Hey, youngster, what you in a hurry for, man? Slow down when you're coming around that corner. You need to slow down. Road runner, stop running so fast. Because that's the kind of stuff they do. Like, man, what are you doing in here doing all of that? I said it to my grandson the other day. You know, I'm telling my son I can keep him. I looked at my son and say, no, I can't. That little joker fast. I ain't got time to be doing that all day. And that's that old man stuff, man. We just want to be comfortable. So I love the fact that they can mix and match and just give a guy a different look. Give a guy a different look, because trust me, if he gets used to Strigow and BJ Green, then that's when Trayvon is even more effective, because they ain't used to dealing with 275 pounds of iron coming right at them every single play. So it all works together.
We will look ahead to the Jaguars Week 13 showdown at Nissan Stadium in Nashville this Sunday, and why, as the one King David just noted in the comments, they cannot play down to the level of their competition. That's coming up next here on the Locked On Podcast Network and Locked On Jaguars. Hello, friends. Want to tell you a little bit about our friends at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. One segment to go here on a Monday post-game edition of Locked On Jaguars Squad Show. Mia O'Brien, Tony T. Wiggins, Marcus Ogden with you for a short while longer. And in that short while, boys, we will look ahead to the Jaguars matchup with those hated Titans. Although the vibes, T-Wig, right now in Nashville, I don't want to say, again, to King David's point in the comments, you do not want to play down to the level of your competition. But this is not the Titans that we've come to know over the last 30 plus years here in Duval County.
Yeah, I hate them, and they hate us. And the players need to understand that they hate you. They need to have a Game of Thrones mentality. When you go, those people don't like you if they're wearing those colors. They're not your friend. I don't care if you and somebody went to the academy or went to school together. No, they hate you. I grew up rooting for Washington. Marcus, you grew up in the DMV. The year the Dallas Cowboys went 1-15, you know who they beat? Washington. Broke my heart. That was the only game they won all freaking year. It cannot happen, bro. I mean, it's just like you just got to handle your business. That's why I wouldn't even tell them to look at it like don't play up or down to your competition. Your competition is in the mirror. You need to play to your own standard. That's what you need to do. Don't worry about them. You need to play to your own standard. And they have a quarterback that has a lot of magic. And see, Jaguar fans, you can actually play for a team that has terrible weapons, and you can still look at the quarterback and tell when he has the goods or not. And I hate to say that, but everybody says, well, what does he got around him? That kid ain't got nothing around him. And everybody that I know says that Cam Ward is going to be good. So you don't always have to have the results. You don't always have to have help around for people to give an honest opinion about what you see. And when you got a dude like that, he will try anything. Don't let him. You just act like it's Patrick Mahomes. You are your own competition. At this point of the year, there's a standard that you need to be playing for yourself. It's me versus me. And you don't need external motivation. You don't.
And that's been Liam Cohen's calling card the last 2 weeks in particular, ever since that Chargers game, Marcus. This idea of we now know what the standard is, what we did to the Los Angeles Chargers, and we need to meet that standard. Whether that standard was elevated or not, it was there all along. That's who we need to be. And so to that end, I say to you, memories perhaps of the Jags Titans from your days playing here, and this idea from your playing days of not playing to the level of your competition. Is that just a cliche or is that real?
Oh, it's real. I mean, what happens is you tend to think you can take plays off because the team is not going to capitalize when you do. And that's not the way to play this football game or play football at all in reality. Because at the end of the day, you have a job to do. And the Titans right now, they're dying. They're on the ventilator, they're on their last breath. You need to go ahead and have it pull the plug, and you need to make them and take them out. And again, Cam Ward he does have flashes, but boy, oh boy, it's hard to see because boy, they are not good. But you can definitely see the young player has flashes. And again, they just need to get some things a lot around him. But again, while he doesn't have the weapons, you need to punish him every chance you get. When he drops back to throw that football, you need to have some pressure on him, heat on him, hit him in the back, hit him in the side, whatever needs to happen. Because again, that's the only player on that team that I feel really is playing with any sort of real effort or any type of dignity. And so you got to finish this game. The Titans don't want to play. They're already thinking off season, going to Hawaii. And again, I've been around play. I've seen guys like that. Okay, well, the season's over. I'm just get my check and go on about my off season, and we'll come back next year. Well, you know what? That's how they feel. help them get to that offseason a lot faster with another loss.
So safe to say, Marcus, Cam Ward is your X factor. I take it.
Oh, I mean, who else is there?
Well, that was what I was going to ask you in T-Wig. Is there someone else who concerns you at all on this roster?
Yeah, I mean, Cam Ward is the guy. I mean, if you stop Cam Ward, I feel there's nothing else left to stop. Because, again, I don't even know who their backup is. I mean, I couldn't tell you who one of their starting linemen is. Like, they just have gone downhill. And honestly, people keep saying, and maybe they're right, the ownership is just running them into the ground. And so if that's the case, you just got to go ahead and keep doing what you do best.
T-Wig, what say you?
I don't know if they're playing. I haven't seen the status, but Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat can play. Yeah. But so can Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty and Max Crosby. You ain't going to get beat by 3 players. Hopefully they don't get beat by 3 players if you're Jacksonville. I will tell somebody on here one thing. Somebody said Brenton Strange didn't look, he looked okay, but he needed another week. Brenton Strange had 93 yards receiving. That's the best Brenton Strange has ever played in his life. And a player coming back from injury, if you think he was off a little bit, he was supposed to be off. He was never going to get that game out of his system sitting over there waiting. So whatever you saw that I didn't see, you're supposed to see that after he's been out a number of weeks. I didn't see it, but if you saw it, you was going to see it regardless, whether you waited next week or not.
That's the first game back from injury. I mean, you could argue Devin Lloyd against the Texans looked, not as I said to him, I thought he looked faster against the Chargers, but maybe it was just because of that first game back, getting your sea legs back under you. Before I ask you guys for final thoughts on the Titans matchup on Sunday, we did have the question from Vincent about the Parker Washington, not a safety punt return. T-Wig, Marcus, which one of you would like to take this? Your examination, your play-by-play of what exactly went down. T-Wig, I see you smiling. Can you break it down for Vincent?
I know what the rule is. The rule is after it's been touched, the only thing that happens after that matters is if you get a penalty. And they'll enforce the penalty, but whatever happens in terms of like a safety, it doesn't matter. But here's my advice to Parker. I know what the rule is. Don't do it because you know what it created or it contributed to? Things getting chaotic and weird. Just don't do nothing weird or chaotic, man. Just let it go. Because after that point, the game got chaotic and weird, didn't it? And they almost lost. We don't want to do it. We need to get on the plane and leave, dog. Don't worry about it. Move. Leave it alone.
Marcus, any thoughts on that punt? Nope, that kind of set it off.
I mean, again, there's no need to go near it. There's no need to try to actually want to touch it. Like, for what? What good is that going to do? Again, as T-Wig said, just keep everything simple and keep everything nice and calm. Do not bring any type of chaos, drama to the field. This is not a Real Housewives of Dallas. This is not the Kardashians. We don't get paid off of drama and rage. We get paid off of doing your job and keeping it clean and simple. So again, keep it clean and simple. No drama, no BS, and let's just move forward, get the W, and go home.
I like it. I like it. That's Marcus's call to action for the Jaguars this Sunday against the Titans. T-Wig, any final words from you before we put a bow on today's program?
Get on the plane and come back home 8-4. Just get on the plane, and I don't care if they win a walk-off field. Get on the plane and come back home. We can argue about everything. We'd rather do it at 8-4 than 7-5.
I love it. I love it. We're still going to finalize our programming schedule for the rest of the week, given the Thanksgiving holiday, which we do hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. And thank you so much for listening to the Locked On Jaguars Squad Show. We will be back Sunday. As far as I know, as of now, boys, no ESPN radio conflicts yet. So we will plan on a post-game edition, truly live on Sunday afternoon, following what will hopefully be the Jaguars' 8th victory of the season. I think it bears repeating. The Jaguars, 7 wins in just 12 weeks. A reminder, they had 5 wins in 18 months. It's okay to unclench your jaw and be happy, Jaguars fans. be happy, but also still be hungry for more as Jacksonville gets set to face the Tennessee Titans for the first time this season. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe to the Locked On Jaguars channel. All episodes of Locked On Jaguars available both on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, T-Wig, what's the plan for those who may have missed it for the daily program this week as well?
All right, so we got programming. We're gonna do it. We'll be on live tomorrow. Well, not live, but 15 minutes after I record it, you will have it. Wednesday we'll do the same thing, and I'm recording a crossover with Tyler Rowland. I'll be doing that either tomorrow or Wednesday because we already know what that is. Thursday I'm gonna actually talk about too. I may talk about tomorrow on Wednesday show rather. The things that I'm thankful about of being a Jaguar fan. And there's gonna be a whole bunch of people we mentioned today that's gonna be on that show. So. Programming all week, and of course, always glad to be with you guys after the game and twice a week here. This show is for real, man. Y'all the truth, man. Y'all make me very happy. One, I ain't got to do nothing but show up. But then the other thing is, it gives Jaguar fans different perspectives and a different look at everything. So I couldn't be happier.
Hey, we appreciate and are thankful for you, T-Wig. Marcus, thankful and appreciate you too. And of course, happy you're a part of the Jaguars Squad Show and the Locked On Jaguars family. I actually will be joining the Titans Squad Show tomorrow. Julian let me know. That'll be live at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, folks. So, yeah, I'll report back and let you know how that one goes. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We will catch you very soon here. Actually, we'll catch you tomorrow. We're here every day on the Locked On Jaguars channel.